Hello guys, welcome to another makeup video. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time it is that you are watching this video. This is my Valentine's Day makeup look. It is so pretty. This is all black owned makeup brands. I always try to do this in the month of February. I have not done a colorful look in so long, and this is really making me want to get back into it. Tricked ya. We'll be doing a voiceover today. I'm taking the Nina Body Lotion. I smell everything, LOL. Here I have the Fenty Beauty Brow MVP Sculpting Brow Wax Pencil and Styler. And I'm just going to run that through both of my brows. Next, I'm going to go in with a spoolie. I'm going to brush my eyebrows back and then forward to evenly distribute the product. I am now going to go in with the Fenty Beauty Brow MVP Ultra Fine Brow Pencil and Styler. I have the shade Black Brown, and I am just going to go in and fill in the line underneath my brow. And then I will shade the line above my brow. I try to follow where the natural shadow that my hair falls. And then once I finish with that, I'm gonna go in and run the pencil through my brow and shade in the top. I am now going to go back in with the spoolie to make sure I blend out the pencil. I am now going to do the exact same thing to the other brow. I am going back in with the spoolie to make sure my brows are not too bushy, and I am also brushing them out in the front. Cousins. I am taking the Juvia's Place Mini I Am Magic Concealer, and I am using the shade 13. I am first going to go in and clean up underneath my brows. I am now going to blend out the concealer I put underneath my eye, and once I am done with this, I am going to use whatever product is left on the brush, and I am going to put this on my eyelid. We are going to use this as a base for our eyeshadow. Once that is put down, I will go ahead and buff this out with an eyeshadow brush. I wasn't even filming. I am using the Juvia's Place Saharan Blush Volume 2 palette, and I will use the shade B as our transition shade. I am now going in with the Juvia's Place Warrior 3 palette. I'm going to take the shade Fanti. I'm going to use this to smoke out my liner. This is going to be the first shade. I'm going to go lightest to darkest. I am now taking the shade Kaina, and I am keeping this closer towards my lash line. I'm using a pointed brush, something that you would typically use if you wanted to spice up your inner corner. Died again. As y'all can see, my lighting died, which was very unfortunate. So my frame will be off and the lighting will be off until this gets charged again. I'm so happy that I didn't give up on this makeup look. When I say that there were so many things that happened in the beginning of filming, I am just so happy that I persevered and got this makeup look for y'all. I am now going back in with that first brush to make sure the colors are blending together. I will now be using the shade Candice as my liner. And I am also just making sure that I am bringing this all the way up to the very start of my eyeballs. I did this with all three colors. I just wanted to give a very seamless and elongated look. Here I took the first two shades to make sure it blended with the liner shade. Here I have the Garnier Skin Active Micellar Cleansing Water, the waterproof one. I will also be taking a cotton swab and I will just be going in to clean up any fallout and making sure that my liner is sharp. On top of my mixing palette, I am going to take this Danessa Myricks Hydrating Facial Oil. I believe this has 24K gold specks in here. I will also be taking this Eaze So Care Firm Belief Smoothing Peptide Cream. And I will be mixing this in with the Fenty Beauty, I believe this is their Pro Filt'r Mattifying Primer. And I'm just going to apply those to the face. Get those lips too. You don't want to be crusty. I forgot to record what I use for foundation. I know for a fact I went in with the Danessa Myricks Love and Light Hydrating Facial Oil in the shade Blaze. And to mix that, I either went in with the Fenty Beauty Pro Filt'r Soft Matte Longwear Foundation in the shade 360 or their Easy Drop Blurring Skin Tint in the shade 14. Here I went in with the Fenty Beauty foundation brush to blend everything out just to make sure there were no streaks left on my face. Ooh. I am now going in with my Fenty Beauty Poutsicle Hydrating Lip Stain in the shade Strawberry Sangria. I'm first going to use this on my mixing palette just to ensure that this does not stain my face. I do go back and forth in between both cheeks. One thing I can say about this is it lasts so long. I don't remember this lasting as long on my lips, but on my cheeks, it wore beautifully and was still there after 8 hours. I'm now going in with this Black Radiance True Complexion Cream Contour Palette in medium to deep. I'm using the shade Scope on my cheeks and on my forehead. Fun fact, when I started doing makeup, I hated how contour looked on my forehead, so I didn't do that for about 2 years. The lighting in this video is so terrible. For my chin, I'm going to go in with the deeper shade, which is the contour shade. I like this for my chin because I want to add shadow. I don't want to add warmth. And I want to hide that double chin, baby. I also like to use this color for my nose because I do not want to warm up my nose for this particular look. I want it to give this shadow effect. And for my lips, I love to line my lips with the contour shade because I feel like once I actually go in with my lip pencil, it lasts so much longer because it already has a base that it can stick to. I am now using the Fenty Beauty Wear Even Hydrating Longwear Concealer in the shade 370N. I'm going to be putting this underneath my eye to clean up my wing, around my nose, my forehead, my chin, and I will also go upwards on my mouth. Number one, I have discoloration there, but I also want it to lift. In the spirit of Valentine's Day, I am going in with the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Red Velvet Blurring Balm Flushed. This is the second blush that I am choosing to layer, and I love how these tones complemented one another. To blend out my concealer, I go in with two brushes. The first one is an angled brush. I like this because this really puts the product where I want it to be. Then I will go in with a second brush. This is the same brush that I use to blend out the concealer to prep my eyes for eyeshadow. I really like this one because it really helps to blend out the edges of anything to make the makeup look so seamless. And this also has no additional product. To blend out my under eye, I start with the triangle first, but I only blend out the edges. I do not go all the way up to the inner corner. I want that product to sit there as long as it can so it can be as bright as it can. After I blend out the edges, I will then go to lift my face and clean up the liner. Once that is all blended out, I will then go back into the triangle and blend the inner corner. As I stated, I want that product to sit there as long as it can. I don't even think y'all understand how excited I was to open this up. The packaging is beautiful. This is the Pat McGrath Labs Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Blurring Under Eye Powder in the shade medium. And I only use this, no, I think I use this everywhere that I put my concealer to set. I do like to use my fingers to further blend things out just to make sure that as I'm setting my powder, there are no creases. Here I am reinforcing my lip liner because I feel like it did get a little bit lost after I blended out my concealer. I go back in with the Fenty Beauty foundation brush just to make sure there are no harsh lines. For my nose contour, I do go in with two brushes. The first one is a little bit more fluffier. When I'm doing my nose contour, I like to blend down instead of blending up because the concealer underneath will take care of that. I also like to blend this into my eyebrow. And then I go in with a more dense brush to really blend out the contour on my nose so everything looks seamless. Hopefully I don't completely butcher the name. I have Eaze Bouquet Liquid Blush in the shade Blushing Bouquet. This is going to be the last cream blush that I layer. And this color is so stunning, you guys. Like, I have never, or at least not in my collection, I do not have a pink of this color. Like, it is so pretty. I am literally obsessed. And because I am a true blush girl, it goes on my nose, my chin, my forehead. I just love blush. It goes everywhere. Next, I am going to take the Fenty Beauty Invisimatte Instant Setting and Blotting Powder. This is their universal shade. I use this to set underneath my eye and around my mouth, also on my forehead. My light is back. Look at the skin. Next, I'm going in with the Fenty Beauty Poutsicle Hydrating Lip Stain in the shade Strawberry Sangria. Powder. Here, I'm going in with the Black Radiance True Complexion Contour Palette, and I'm going in with the Contour and Sculpt shades. I'm using the Fenty Beauty Traced Out Pencil Lip Liner in the shade 07 I Wouldn't. I'm going in with the same blush that I use on my cheeks. I like to do this with my makeup because it keeps the same tones in the face so the look is cohesive. Now I'm using this Juvia's Place lip gloss in the shade Kiss Me. This is the LYS Natural Finish Skin Loyalty Makeup Setting Spray. This is the Lime Life by Alcone Time Setter Makeup Finish Oil Free Setting Spray. I'm going in with a makeup brush that does not have any product so I can press the setting spray into my face. I'm using the Fenty Beauty Hella Thick Volumizing Mascara. This is the Ami Collet Lash Amplifying Mascara. I'm taking the Juvia's Place Volume 4 Duo. The dark pink will go on the temple, the back of my cheeks, my forehead, and my nose. Then I'm going to take the lighter shade and I'm going to run that on the top of my cheeks and my chin. My last blush will be the Pat McGrath Labs Divine Blush in the shade Paradise Venus. Going back in with the eyeshadow palette I used on my eyes, I'm going in with the shade Kahina and Fanti, mixing those two together and smoking that out on my lower lash line. Going in with the shade Canvas, I am keeping this shade close to my waterline. I'm taking the LYS Love Yourself eyeshadow palette. This is the unapologetic one. And I believe I'm going in with the shade Bougie. I'm putting this on the inner third of my upper and lower lash line. I just wanted to add a little bit of something to the look. It's not super noticeable, but it made me feel better. I just noticed something. Even though this is an outro, this does not come all the way down. Okay. And we're just going to boom. I like am obsessed with this, and let me know if I should start like a color series. This is giving pink mauve vibes, and I love it. So happy Valentine's Day. What are you guys gonna be doing? First V-Day look on my channel, and I'm so happy to be back, and thank you for tuning in. Love y'all.